the long-simmering feud between US President Donald Trump and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell has now entered a decisive new phase. After months of verbal attacks on the Fed's interest rate policy, Trump has taken up a concrete step, nominating outspoken Federal Reserve critic Kevin Warsh to lead the institution. The move signals a clear attempt by Trump to reshape the central bank's direction, raising fresh questions about the future of Fed independence and US monetary policy. Now, so who is Kevin Warsh, the man Donald Trump wants at the helm of America's central bank? Warsh is a former Federal Reserve governor, a longtime critic of a loose monetary policy, and a strong advocate of clearer, rural-based decision-making at the Fed. His nomination signals Trump's intent to bring in a chair aligned more closely with the economic worldview, particularly on interest rates and central bank accountability. Donald Trump's move against Jerome Powell is rooted in a deep policy and power clash. Trump believes the Federal Reserve's kept interest rates too high for too long, hurting growth, increasing government borrowing costs, and undermining his economic agenda. Powell, on the other hand, has defended the Fed's independence and its mandate to control inflation, even in the face of political pressure. By nominating Kevin Warsh, Trump is signaling a clear break from Powell's approach and asserting greater influence over monetary policy at a politically and economically sensitive moment. Gold and silver prices also plunged after President Trump nominated Kevin Warsh as the next Federal Reserve chair, easing fears over the Fed's independence. Silver tumbled as much as 16%, briefly falling below $100 an ounce, while gold futures slide over 3%. Markets read the Warsh pick as a more hawkish signal, strengthening the dollar and triggering a sharp unwinding of crowded precious metal trades. Have a look at this report.
U.S. President Donald Trump said Thursday that he would reveal his pick to replace Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell on Friday, a decision that could reshape America's monetary policy at a critical moment.
And I'll be naming the Fed tomorrow morning. I've chosen a very good person to head the Fed. I'll be putting that out tomorrow morning.
Powell's term as the leader of the U.S. central bank ends in May, and he could technically stay on as governor until 2028. But tensions have escalated between the Fed and the administration over the pace of rate cuts. The Justice Department is now conducting a probe into renovation cost overruns at the central bank's headquarters, a move Powell has denounced as a pretext to pressure him on policy. The Fed held rates steady this week, having cut 3 times last year. Trump says rates should be 2 to 3 points lower, which would take them to levels usually only seen during a stalled economy. Now the president is weighing 4 finalists who all share his view that rates should fall. Former Fed Governor Kevin Warsh has suddenly become the betting market's favorite, with sources saying he had a meeting with Trump at the White House on Thursday. Bloomberg News, citing sources familiar with the matter, reported that the White House is preparing for him to be nominated. BlackRock executive Rick Rieder had been the frontrunner, though he has never worked in government. Supporters say that could help bring fresh thinking. Current Fed Governor Christopher Waller, one of 2 dissenters on this week's rate decision, is also in the mix. He has long argued that tariffs won't fuel inflation, an argument that helped shift the Fed toward last year's rate cuts. And White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett, once considered a strong contender, now appears unlikely, with Trump saying he'd prefer to keep him in his current role.